go, we're commencing our trip to Yerranderie, 1st of May 2021, with Andrew in front. When I arrived at Andrew's in the morning, he did mention that a couple of fire trucks went flying up the road just before I got there. We're about to find out where they went. It appears that someone had probably been caught out by the early morning dew and they'd slid over the edge. Thankfully, no one was badly injured, and as luck would have it, the tow truck has just finished removing their vehicle from just up the road, so we're pretty much good to go. We stopped at Bowral to fill our fuel tanks because the next part of our journey is a 300k loop with no fuel available. Apart from the minor delay on Macquarie Pass, the ride was going great. With flowing trails, awesome scenery and great weather, what more could you want? Well, as it turns out, not to get a rear flat tyre would have been great. Unfortunately, sections of the trail had very sharp shale rocks, which eventually took their toll on the Tenere's stock rear tyre. I knew that we were in for a challenge breaking the bead on this tyre, given its large profile and safety bead. I also knew there was no room for failure because we're in the middle of BF nowhere and I didn't fancy an 80-kilometre walk. Using the side stand on the bead method, after some time and copious amounts of WD-40 and swearing, the bead finally popped and Andrew and I breathed a sigh of relief. Having changed many dirt bike tyres in the past, we worked like the seasoned professionals we are and had the tube replaced in no time. Now the pump saga began. We got the tyre up to about 10 psi and then Andrew's electric pump went dead. So we reverted to the small bicycle pump I had in my gear, and miraculously, once we got to about 30 psi, the beads popped back on, one after the other. Thank you, WD-40. 2 weeks later, after buying my own electric pump, I discovered that the fuse had blown on my Tenere's auxiliary socket, and there was nothing wrong with Andrew's pump at all. Be warned, Tenere owners, the auxiliary 12-volt socket only has a 2-amp fuse and most of these mini compressors draw way more than that. Lesson learned. Anyway, after we got back on the road, we had a great ride to our destination, arriving with just enough light to set up camp and find some firewood. After a reasonable night's sleep, we woke to another great day, albeit hazy from the current back-burning operations. I forgot to mention that on arrival here yesterday, we were promptly met by the local caretaker / parks guy, who informed us that the road in here was closed after extreme rain damage. We explained that the website said it was opening from 1 PM on that day and we saw no signs on the way in. He was cool and explained how our insurance was probably null and void travelling in on a closed road and to enjoy our stay. Apparently we came in on a road that intersected with the closed road about 500 metres after the sign, so we literally didn't see it. After packing up camp, we spoke to one of the locals. Yes, there are a couple of permanent residents, and he explained to us how they had been getting their supplies dropped off by helicopter ever since the road closure. You may be wondering by now, why on earth was this remotely accessible town put on the map in the first place? Well, straight from New South Wales National Parks website, Yerranderie Private Town is one of New South Wales' most authentic, unchanged silver mining ghost towns, having been carefully preserved to retain its historic past. If you need to know more, just Google it. After checking out the old town, we headed back home, the same way we came in, because it's the only way, unless you're a water board employee with a key. After my puncture experience on the previous day, I took it real easy and tried to dodge every sharp rock on the road. I was curious to see how much fuel I used on the 300k loop, riding at a fairly reserved pace dodging rocks.